Hey, welcome to Men on Everything. This is our show where we talk about everything. In Washington, D.C. is Troy Johnson. In New York City is Mark Clark, and I'm Tony Scott in St. Louis. Mark, how did it go, man? The Snowmageddon was hitting the Big Apple. Was it as bad as they said it was going to be, or was it a case of, well, you know?
Okay, well, you know, again, all of us, I guess me and Troy from the Midwest, we don't buy the whole hype. I don't know where this came from, this hype. And sure enough.
Sing it, Mark.
Sure enough.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't believe it. And sure enough, hype. I mean, they were, the mayor was on television. I mean, this press conference.
Yeah.
Last night, look, we are requiring that everyone get off the streets. That if you're on the streets after 11 o'clock, you will be fined and or arrested. Come on, man. Damn. I mean, even Starbucks was closed.
Wow.
Damn.
But
were the trains running though, man? Were the trains running so you could get back to the crib, man?
Everybody's closed.
So how'd you get back?
No, they gave us a hotel room across the street.
Oh, okay, you're across the street. But if they wouldn't have done that, how would you have gotten back to your place?
Oh,
man?
yeah, it's locked down, baby. You had to get back.
You had to foot it.
I would have just stayed at the station, probably.
Okay.
Uber had dog sled services that could use that.
It's ridiculous because I remember this growing up, man. I don't remember this happening, man. All this hype, man, and then the weather guys look crazy this morning, because they were still trying to. They still tried to make it a story, but it was ridiculous. Like it was like 4 inches of snow. So I'm outside and Starbucks is closed. And yep, okay. Back to you, Bob.
Well, let's. I'm going to say this as someone who earlier this morning, I was doing the news, and we're talking about all of these issues. Now, north of New York, it's another story. So
it's a completely
there was a storm, but the projections were off. Apparently, even here. We dodged a bullet in Washington. We only got about an inch of snow, and they knew that was going to be the case. But it's funny, you still have a little bit of the hype, like, the roads are slick, and they are. And so it's like, I think, and I agree with Mark because it's freaking ridiculous how people get caught up about this weather situation. But I would say in this particular case with New York, the way this storm looks, it looked crazy. I don't know how they missed, maybe they just got lucky. But, on one hand, it looks crazy in New York. But again, north of there, they're getting...
Yeah, to 30 inches of snow in New England and stuff like that. And I saw like a little video clip. Somebody in Buffalo was calling New Yorkers chumps because Buffalo gets that on. They get that on the regular, right? So they were like, New York, y'all are chumps, man. It's like we don't even wake up unless there's 12. We don't even get out the bed. We don't get out the bed and shovel for anything less than 3 feet.
Yeah, I mean, and there was a time when that kind of was the case. If you lived in that kind of climate, getting that kind of snow was just par for the course during winter.
Yeah. That's the Mark. You mentioned the most important thing. Hey, y'all, it's winter.
Right.
It's supposed to snow.
It is supposed to snow.
It may shut your city down. It might shut you down.
Even the cold thing, people complain about it being cold in the wintertime. That's kind of like, it's cold.
That's what happens, yes.
What the hell's going on?
Yeah. Cold is relative to where you live.
I will say this, guys. I think we are becoming a nation of softies.
Yeah.
From our kids, I told you this story before. I delivered snow on a bike in the ice with a bike that didn't even work. I just pushed off one leg because I was injured.
You mean
That's what I'm talking about.
You deliver newspaper.
What did I say?
Yeah, snow. You deliver snow. I was like, Frosty.
That morning when I figured I was going to get a ride, I said, Mom, what am I going to do? I said, you going to take me on my paper route since I had my bike? She said, that's your paper route, not my paper route. That's what I'm talking about. Damn. That's what you're supposed to do, parents. Man. That's your paper route.
Now, well, does anybody deliver papers anymore? I mean,
Well, now grown folks do. Like people, when you're unemployed and you need a little extra cash. I was on those papers, yes. 3 in the morning, you throw the paper out of your car.
Do you have a number, man? Let me.
Tony, take this down, by the way.
Man, come on, man.
Hi, I'm Tony Scott. You can have the St. Louis Post-Dispatch at your door.
That looks like Tony Scott in my driveway.
Are you Tony Scott? No, I'm not.
Tony, you know what? Actually pays double, so deliver that world, baby.
That's right. Get both of them.
Man. So a drone landed on the White House in a tree, man. Somebody flew a drone. I guess they lost control of it because the person did step up and say it was mine. I'm sorry. Yeah. But they shut it down. Secret Service shut everything down, which I thought was interesting because I don't think we're prepared for a drone attack. Even a 2-foot diameter drone could still carry a chemical. It could carry, something, I'm sure. So now I guess they have to look at that because we got radar to pick up, jets and planes and little puddle jumpers and stuff like that. But I don't think we have radar to pick up 2-foot drones, man. That's
Tony. You've had a drone land on the White House. You had shots fired at the White House, and then you had a dude roll in and make a sandwich. Basically came through the front door. They're right now actually trying to raise the fence line along the White House grounds to keep people from jumping over a 7-foot fence.
Wow.
So in the midst of trying to figure out the security issues there with the Secret Service, and we talked about this before, Secret Service having issues already internally. You had a couple of scandals with some hookers when they were supposed to be keeping an eye on the president overseas. Now you have a drone that, again, a guy, you're a freaking idiot. Why are you flying a drone? His answer was, I wanted to see how the drone would handle in inclement weather. So I took it down. I guess he took it down to the mall and tried to fly it. Hey, idiot! What are you doing? You can't fly a drone in Washington D.C.
No.
You can't do that. I mean, everybody. I can ask anybody that. I mean, you don't need a memo. You don't need a letter. You don't need a sign. You know better than that. Come on,
man. I mean,
infant stupid though.
It's just something that I think the government has to look at now is how we pick up these plastic drones because potentially they could wreak havoc.
Well, I saw an interesting story that I happened to put on social media earlier this week. A drone crashed in Mexico.
Yeah, I saw that.
With 3 kilos of cocaine on it. Damn! What the hell is going on?
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, oh, man, I don't know.
Now,
I just don't know.
Obviously, the pilot didn't use any science, to try to figure out the weight ratio. Didn't have a drone big enough. But, what?
Yeah, but how many 2 kilos, 1 kilo, how many have made a successful trip on a drone before this 3 kilo crash, man?
Yeah.
Just buy a little bigger drone.
Well,
man,
what's going to happen is that side hustle, that dude that works for Pizza Hut and Amazon, when they start flying drones, there are going to be some other packages they don't know about.
Man.
I'm just saying.
I saw the story here in St. Louis, man. Police in St. Louis are investigating in South St. Louis, man. A shooting injured 2 people, including the child. Happened at 8:45 Tuesday morning. This morning, an 8-year-old boy was found with a gunshot wound to his leg, but he walked to school.
Yeah, walk it out.
He walked. Yeah. It's like, wow.
Well,
an 8-year-old boy shot in the leg, and he goes to school.
Well, so much for my rant on kids not being tough these days. Damn. Man, that makes a newspaper story look like I'm a little bitch.
And there's no way that kid was going to miss out on some street cred today. Like, I'm going to school. I'm the 50 Cent of my school.
Well, yeah, Death Row signed him an hour ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that right?
Got an album coming out in a month. What they shooting for?
Man.
That's my new album.
It's actually Lil Hot Nigga. It's
Oh man,
the Lil Hot. The little part is.
Stop.
Oh,
So Dwayne Wade got fined $15,000 because he flipped somebody the bird that was talking about his wife in the stands.
Oh, I thought it was for his beard.
Damn.
You know,
I thought Lil Wayne wasn't allowed to go to the stadium anymore.
So somebody's talking about Gabrielle Union, taunting him with comments about Gabrielle Union. And so he responds by flipping him the bird and $15,000.
So Tony, everybody knows when your knee hurts, your ears,
You hear everything.
your ears improve. Them knees is hurting, man.
He's in pain. I'm in pain over here, man. I'm in pain.
Oh man, you can hear the other bench. You can hear. What? Oh, you're running the triangle, y'all.
No. So what's the latest on Inflategate, man? What's going to happen, man? When it first happened, everybody was saying that New England Patriots should not be allowed to play in the Super Bowl, which was not realistic at all. There was no way that was going to happen.
I did sign a petition, Tony. And this is serious. I signed a petition. Someone put a petition together that said disqualify the Patriots and let the Colts and the Ravens play the AFC Championship game. I'm like, let me sign that right now.
Well, yeah, you're the number one Raven fan, so. I mean, what should be the penalty? This is 3 times that they've been caught cheating. Now they're trying to blame it on some ball boy or some attendant, and then they threw in physics, how the physics affected the ball. It didn't affect the balls that Indianapolis played with, though. It only affected the ones the Patriots had. How's that even possible? Something happened, something that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
And even if it's somebody who works at the stadium, that still falls in the Patriots' lap.
Yes.
This is the 3rd time. 3 times they've been caught cheating. What should happen?
Well, I think Sherman said it best. Ain't nothing going to happen.
Right, Richard Sherman.
Friends with Goodell, and nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen.
They're because they have cheated before they've been through this. So you have Bill Belichick, who doesn't. Here's a Bill Belichick press conference. We're looking forward to Cincinnati. Now he's just a chatterbug. You know, it's media day at the Super Bowl. He's talking and laughing and all this stuff, doing the complete opposite Bill Belichick that you're used to seeing, because they know they got to get this monkey off their back.
Right.
And he's like, I held 2 press conferences. One of them was a science class. The owner has spoken about the situation, and they're trying to put that exclamation on that says, we're moving on.
Right.
But we don't believe it. We don't believe it, man.
But if you were the commissioner, how would you punish New England?
Well, the first thing I would do is say something, and he hasn't. And again, Roger Goodell, why have you not said anything at this point? You don't have to have the answers. Just say, "Hi, I'm the commissioner. We know that this is an odd situation, and the NFL is looking into it. Release a statement or something. Get in front of a microphone." That should have happened as soon as this story popped off. But of course, it hasn't.
No.
So, this guy took 24 balls into a restroom stall and managed, allegedly, to get the air out of the balls.
In a very short period of time.
In a short period, well, because they've been doing it. He had it down to a science.
Yeah. What kind of punishment would you dole out, Commissioner Clark?
Well, I think we'd have to. Well, it raises a whole bunch of questions. The ball inflation issue, is it real? Is this the only time it happens? Does it happen often? Like Troy said, at the very least, I would probably say we're looking into it, and across if this is a real issue or not, and if it is, something will be done about it. And leave it at that, And then, probably they might get lucky this time, because I don't know how real of an issue it is. If it's a real issue now, like you say, it's almost like baseball players having different tricks they use to gain an advantage. If this is one, we'll set it up. We'll evaluate it and then have a process after this. But I don't know if it's a disadvantage.
There is a punishment already. Is it? But when this happened, they said that if they find out that the team did it, it doesn't. Let's take the advantage or disadvantage away. If you did it, they're going to take away some draft picks. Okay. I mean, that right after it happened, that's what they were talking about. So I imagine,
that's the case, yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, that may not be a huge punishment for a team like the Patriots, but that's what's on the books apparently.
But to me, there's going to be a loss of draft picks. And in high draft picks, there's going to be a fine, and Belichick has to be suspended for a year.
If you're the commissioner.
I mean, if I'm the commissioner, yeah. I mean, Sean Payton, that whole bounty gate that happened in New Orleans, he had to sit on the sidelines, and that wasn't cheating. That was just dirty play.
Yeah.
Right? But we're talking about, what the Patriots have done for the third time.
Yeah.
It hurts the brand. It hurts, the integrity of the game, what's left of it. But I said this in the podcast, man, it doesn't really matter what they do because, folks are going to support the NFL no matter what.
Well,
they could have Klan Day at the game and you get in free dressed like the Klan and people are going to give the NFL a pass because that's just how much passion people have for football.
Well, the NFL has taken a hit by some marketing, from a view of a marketing company. Apparently, it's that they've fallen below other pro sports in some ways. But like I say, who knows that? But I think Tony, what about the balls? No pun intended. Of Kraft to say, hey, if they don't find out anything that we did anything wrong, I want an apology. Man, you got some big ass balls, boy.
Yeah.
Because what are you talking about, dude? It's like the third time you got caught cheating, and talk about, like I said, a hit to your brand. You really are struggling with us with trying to have a solid reputation. This comes off as snarky and ego driven.
Right.
But you know what?
Ridiculous.
I'll tell you why they can get away with it. Because let me ask you this. I can ask both of you. Do you like the Patriots?
No.
Okay, there you go. If you lived in New England, you'd love the Patriots. And you know how it is, if you're watching a football game, your team gets a call against them, and you're like, man, that's BS. You know it was pass interference. You know it. But, you get wrapped up in the game. And I feel like there's such a large fan base. These fans are going to do the same thing that we would do if it were our team. Man, they're just trying to come after us. They don't give us any respect. So you got a built-in, it's the WWE kind of thing. This is my team. This is my city. And, we get caught up in all of that. That's why and maybe, the NFL, I think what people don't realize, even down to this football and how much error is in it, everything in the NFL, from a player standpoint and from a league standpoint, they know. It's precise,
Well, I think the Patriots have been getting a pass ever since that tuck thing that Tom Brady had against the Raiders. Ever since they called that an incomplete pass, they've been getting a pass on everything, man. Everything bounces their way.
Yeah. Ray Lewis said that. Ray sounded crazy, but he said that too. He basically said if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be hearing the name Tom Brady. I don't know about that, Ray, but I get your point.
Yeah, he was fired up.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Just like, you know what, guys? I had an epiphany. The Marshawn Lynch grab your crotch epiphany, right?
Yes.
$20,000 fine. $20,000 fine for grabbing his crotch after a touchdown.
He's been doing that every game.
Yeah.
This is the second time he's been fined.
I was thinking about that. I said, you know what? The funny thing about football, like you said, Troy, everything basically is precise and everything has a thing. I think it's also one of those sports that definitely is driven by the mentality of the player, And I think the beast mode, Marshawn Lynch, like that thing that makes him like unbelievable and unstoppable in some moments, is probably that same thing that makes him grab his nuts when he scores a touchdown, because it's an attitude that basically says "F you." You know, it's like that. It's like, and I think that's why he doesn't do the interviews and all that kind of stuff. It's like he gets in a certain zone, and that's who he is. You know, and I think that's just people say, well, why would you do that? I think it just is what it is. You know, it may not be explainable, but I think, like they used to say, Michael Jordan used to make up enemies. We've seen Marshawn Lynch have some runs that are crazy.
Yeah.
Well, someone said Marshawn Lynch is Earl Campbell 2.0.
Right.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
You know, so but how much of this Marshawn Lynch, this beast thing, how much of it is ego driven though? How much is it him, you know, buying into the hype that he is, beast?
I don't think it's ego driven. I think it's, you know, watching his he's been that since like high school, you know. I think it's not. I think it's really, to be honest, seeing his little background story, it's almost that chip on your shoulder that the kids from the hood have, that probably, you know, has been your thing. Like you said, it's not a beast mode. I don't know what it is. It's just, I think it's like that's what he taps into. So it's not. I don't see. I think people do interpret it as ego. Like, I don't want to talk to you and I don't want to do this. I don't think it's that. I think that's his consciousness. I really do believe it's his consciousness. Like, I don't like some players. I think like when Chad Ochocinco and different players, even a Dion, who they understood, I'm going to create this. They purposely created an alter ego to take advantage of all the opportunity that it presents. I don't put him in that same category, you know, especially since the beast mode. Like I said, I just finished watching the interview. It was in high school. It wasn't like I just started to make this up, you know. And he was kind of like that underdog guy his whole career, you know.
Yeah.
So, that's my take.
So let's see, where are we here? So the Empire, Empire, the TV show, which has been renewed for a second season and every week seems to grow and grow. Kevin Johnson, who's a media critic here, an entertainment writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, said he was on a bus or somewhere he was sitting at a show or something, and they were next to two elderly white ladies, and they were talking about a plot on Empire. So Empire apparently has reached a whole nother level, but now there's talk that Denzel may be on there, man.
Oh, really? I smell Men on Empire.
Yeah. You know what? I've gotten quite a few emails that want us to do Men on Empire, but like I told them, it's hard for us to get together to do 2 shows a week.
Yeah.
I caught up on Hulu, so.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm with it.
Does Empire need Denzel right now? I mean, to me, I'd wait until there was like a dip. a dip, because right now they're on a roll. They've got a lot of people lined up to come on the show. I mean, you know, a lot of people. I mean, what's that? Courtney Love was on there a couple weeks ago, and you know they got people waiting in line to get on the show because the show is hot, man. But Denzel, man, see, a long time ago, you couldn't, if you were a movie star, and I know Denzel started on St. Elsewhere on TV, but once you're a movie star, you couldn't go back to TV. TV and movies were 2 separate things, and it was very seldom that someone could even make the leap from television to movies. And of course now, I don't think the line is there anymore.
No. That's because they want these checks.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Halle Berry did a series this past summer that did real well. So
Katherine Heigl is in a show. I mean, she jumped from TV to movies, back in like a marquee NBC show. So
she tore her drawers with me, by the way. I just want to say that.
When did she do that?
Because she was on
Grey's
Anatomy, and she criticized the writing. She got nominated for an Emmy, and she criticized the writing of Shonda Rhimes as someone who's nominated for an Emmy.
Yeah,
that's an asshole move. Then now,
but I mean that's subject to someone's taste, though, is it?
It's not. It's almost like we always talk about it. You're an actress, okay, and you're okay. You're not that great of an actress, you know, and you're going to criticize. You know that's not only very popular, but was the critics loved. You know, and you're gonna talk about the writing, and like you said, Tony, and it's a TV show. I mean, TV shows aren't necessarily known for their writing compared to movies or whatever. But then she flips it, and she now has a show that's very much like the other hit from Shonda Rhimes, Scandal. You know, she's the same type of character, but she happens to be a white and blonde hair and blue eyes, and it's just interesting. Not as sexy as her counterpart on Scandal, but it's almost like you know, she has a bad reputation for being an ass, and that move in itself to me was just totally disrespectful, because when a show, if you don't like the show, fine, but you can keep that to yourself. I just thought it was disrespectful.
Well, especially when they start handing out hardware, you'd think people would. I agree with that part, Mark. People would be on the same page. Hey, it's award season, so the show got nominated. Let's go ahead and get these trophies and peace.
And again, who are you? What has she won? What has she done? You ain't done jack. You're a TV show away from not having a career.
But here's what happened, Mark. Here's what happened. She, at the time, she was the quote-unquote breakout star of Grey's Anatomy, right? She started doing movies while she was doing a TV show, and she wanted to get out of that TV show because it was holding her back from her movie career. So the best way to do that and break your contract is probably to start criticizing the show in some shape, form, or fashion to try to get written off the show so you can get this movie career going, which really didn't pan out at all. I think, and now she's back to doing television again. I kind of think that's what happened, and I think that her people, her camp, probably souped her up, saying that, you know, you're bigger than this show, and you've got to get out of this. We got to get you out of this and into the movies, because on the big screen is where it happens. And I think that's what happened. And she fed into it. She bought it. Ultimately, it was her decision, and she did it. And she criticized Shonda Rhimes, and she got off the show, and she did a movie career that clearly flopped. And now she's back on TV.
And then,
you know,
who are you? Who are you?
Well, how about Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yes.
He was he was in 12 Years a Slave.
Yep.
And he was on with Tavis Smiley, and they were talking about black actors. And he says, I think as far as colored actors go, it gets really difficult in the UK. And I think a lot of my friends have had more opportunities here than in the UK, and that's something that needs to change.
Tony should have done that with an accent. That would have been much better.
Well, I don't have one on me, man. But so he's being criticized for using the term colored to describe black actors. And people, what year are we in? Tavis Smiley says, those who saw Benedict Cumberbatch on PBS know he feels persons of color are underrepresented in Hollywood. He just worded it wrong. You know, I mean,
he went back and said that was stupid. I mean, so you know,
he's apologized. So I mean, so what else is there? What else is there? Do we boycott his movies?
No. Well, let me say something. You're not going to boycott his movies because you'll be bored to death. I saw
he was good in Sherlock Holmes. He was good in Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I saw his recent movie. No, you know what? Black folks, we got to move forward on that. Okay, fine, move forward. Okay, sign up to vote. Okay, who cares? You know what I mean? We got to get over it. We'll be on some who gives a damn stuff. You know, and plus we had Tavis there represented. A folk, calm down. I saw his recent movie nominated for Academy Award, and yes, no.
No?
Oh, man.
It was cool, but that movie symbolized old white people. Like, you know how people say that the voting at the Academy and the challenges they face? That movie, oh my God, it fit into that box so well because it was sentimental, it was sappy, it was all white. It was, and then at the end, the gay thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it was almost like, oh my goodness. At the end, you know, he was basically, he was gay, and the code breaker was probably, you know, the precursor to the computer, you know. Right. And so, but it was almost like the way the movie to me was delivered was so old. It's like an old movie. We've got, like, a lot of the black movies fall into that sometimes too. That old sentimental but he was a strong black man, it's kind of like it felt same way, and you just could see some old people be like, oh, that was great. Versus Selma Selma that was just a whole, like a movement. This was the story of a couple people who were responsible for great things, and you just realize people do love that the individual thing is big for people, but yeah, that movie, I forgot the name of it, I'm sorry, but I watched it and I was like, yeah, boy.
So you think this colored comment that he made is nothing then?
Yeah, because I think people are confused. I think especially, you think a guy from another country, colored, people of color.
But there are black folks over there.
Yeah.
Right. But I think, like you said, I don't think people pay attention. I think people, they go, look, I'm a good person. And when he said that, I don't think he had any, his intent wasn't to had any negative intent to it at all. And in his mind,
I was going to ask you that, though.
He thought he was saying the right thing. But no, you can't. No, it wasn't.
I was going to ask you, so does intent play into the equation of whether what he said was offensive or not?
Yeah, because for me, I don't care. So some black people will be pissed, as they are. I don't really care. Because intent, if a racist calls me African American, but calls me colored, what I mean? I don't have,
fortunately, you have Black Twitter to police these comments.
Yeah.
And you know what? I agree with Mark. Let Black Twitter do that, and the rest of y'all go vote, because you're absolutely. We got people who are keeping an eye on it. That's good.
Right.
And you know what? I think if you want to find something good out of it, or if you want to, analyze all this, there are people that are keeping an eye on what people say, and calling them out when there's an opportunity to do it. I mean, he did, like I said, he apologized. That means, I better go ahead and get back and fix this mess I've created a quandary.
And everyone knows that no racist white people go on Tavis Smiley show. Hell, no black people go on Tavis Smiley show. If you go on Tavis Smiley show, you're pretty much black.
Man. So I saw this in Mississippi, where apparently it is against the law to teach like how to put a condom on in school.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to say black people how to read. I was like, what?
No, no. So one teacher came up with a solution, and he did it as explaining how to put a sock on a foot. Mm-hmm. And he's being applauded for that because he danced around the rules. And the rules, that rule is outdated.
Yes.
I mean.
Well, Tony, that's what a lot of people don't know. That's what Mississippi means in Latin. Outdated.
Mississippi in Latin means outdated. Yes. I mean, 76% of Mississippi teenagers report having sex before the end of high school. That's a little over 3 out of 4 are having sex before they get out of high school. So why are you not meeting this head on instead of sticking to this old thing? I mean, middle school, okay, you can make a case for it, although there are some middle school people having sex. However, high school is a whole different thing, and this needs to be explained. This needs to be taught in school. I'm sorry. I mean, use clinical terms if you want to, but the message needs to get out there. And it's silly to stand in a classroom and have to use how to put a sock on a foot as a way of showing kids how to put a condom on. It's silly.
Well,
and how did that become illegal? Like, what was going on that made that law have to become? Hey, wait a minute. We got to do something about this condom. This condom example.
I think they met that head on before it became an issue. Because, Mississippi is a very conservative state.
Bible Belt.
And Bible Belt. And I think they would call themselves being proactive. I would like to know how old that law is. I can imagine it's I mean, but the other side of this, nobody taught me how to wear a condom, or how to put on a condom. Nobody taught. My father didn't teach me that. My mother didn't teach me that. I mean, how hard is it to figure out how to put a condom on?
In Mississippi, you can hang a black man from a tree, but you can't hang a condom on your penis.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what got him in the #1 market in New York City. That kind of humor, and we love Mark Clark for that. So I don't know, man. I just don't know. They did a study that says that the kinkiest city in America is Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
San Francisco was a close second, and people always thought San Francisco was always known as being a kink city, right?
Yeah.
But
it fell off. Apparently,
it fell off. They say because of the cost of living and everything. People moved up north, and they settled in Portland, and now Portland is the kinkiest city. Other cities on the list include Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. Now, Washington, D.C. does not surprise me because politicians are just freaks anyway.
yes.
And New York, there's some of everything there multiplied by 10 because there's 8 to 10 million people living in New York.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're going to be on every list, right? Chicago, it's a large city, so, but Portland to be #1 was kind of surprising, though. But then again,
Portland.
But
I've been to Portland. It's a nice town, and I'm not surprised.
but
wait a minute. First of all, y'all forgot. I'm gonna tell you 3 things that make it a kinky city.
All right.
NBA. Put an NBA franchise in any town. That already adds a kink factor because
Yeah.
Well, maybe pro sports in general put or major pro sports. I mean, football. What was this? I mean, without mentioning names, Mark, what was the story about the football player that apparently was kind of out there with the apparently he'd like to have his prostate massaged with an external device.
Oh, I missed that story, brother.
You're the one who told me about it.
Oh, what?
You're the one who told me about it.
Man.
When we get done, I'll remind you. But
What?
you're the one who told me about it. So I mean,
Wow.
But kinky is relative to each individual, though. Someone once told me, freaky is when you use feathers. Kinky is when you use the whole chicken. I don't know, man.
Man, leave Randy OJ out of this conversation.
Hey, baby.
And a list has come out as the 3 most dangerous sex positions. Researchers reviewed records from 3 hospitals over a 13-year period in Brazil. In Campinas, Brazil.
Campinas.
Or Campinas. Or whatever. Roughly 3 million people live there. And let's see. The cowgirl is #1 on the list because it's responsible for half of the penile fractures among the cases involving heterosexual sex.
Ouch.
The second one was
Doggy style.
yeah.
Doggy style.
And missionary was number 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Doggy style was, you say animal style or doggy style? That's #2?
Yeah. And number 3 is missionary. Because, and I think they all revolve around the penile fracture scenario. Which, I've been very fortunate and never having to worry about that.
I can't even imagine what that.
I mean, if you fracture, would you put it in a sling? Do you put a cast on it? I mean, what do you? How does that repair itself? Do you have to have surgery?
I don't want to
know, man.
I don't want to know.
I mean, real. What? Usually when you break something, you have to put a cast on it, or you have to put it in a sling or something. But with that,
it's in a sling.
It's not a bone. It's not a bone, really. So
right.
you probably
Right.
it is a bone, but It's not a bone.
It's not a bone per se.
It's boning, but yes, in fact,
yeah.
it wasn't a bone.
I don't know, man. That's interesting. How do you repair something like that? I don't
Prayer works.
That's more. It's more like a dislocation. Actually, it seems like ouch.
Yeah.
Which is just as bad. Damn.
But how do you dislocate? I don't know. That's interesting. Maybe somebody will leave a comment in the comment section about that because I have no idea.
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's not really a muscle issue. It's the hydraulic oil, the hydraulic blood-filled canals.
Okay.
Have been you've.
Would they get torn or something?
Yeah, you kind of yeah.
Wow, man.
Wow.
Man.
Well, Tony, since you've taken the show to Portland today, I got one for you. Now,
all right, man.
Now, we've talked about kinky. There are people that have fetishes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some. So between the three of us, I'm sure there's some out there. But one common fetish is foot fetish, right?
Okay.
We've heard about the foot fetish. They've got something now that combines for some people the best of both worlds. It's called a vajankle.
Oh, vajankle.
What the hell is that?
What the hell is that?
It is a sex toy that incorporates a vagina and a foot and an ankle. And it's called a vajankle. And this is real. It's called a vajankle.
Well, forget the let me get one of them vajankles.
Yeah,
Vajankles, man.
that's right.
So is it a prosthetic?
It's a prosthetic.
Put your foot in.
You put more than your foot.
I think you
put more than your foot in it.
Wow.
I guess I don't know.
It's got the it's kind of like it looks like a molded foot. The shape of a foot with a cookie.
With an opening?
Right on top.
Wow.
What's going on? Damn.
I should use a walk it out joke now.
Damn. I think that's what put Portland on the list right there.
Right there, man.
Yeah, the home
man, home with a vajankle. Can't even say it, man.
I can't say it, man. It's funny as hell, boy. Vajankle.
Wow. So what else? You guys got anything, man?
Well, you don't want to hear my story about the rebuttal.
No, we don't.
The babooty.
Babooty. Man.
Yo, I think we need to go on Shark Tank with these ideas. How many babooties have you sold? Well, mail order, I've sold 20.
Well, we sold an ass load of them.
We just need manufacturing. If we get distribution and manufacturing, we'll be on to something.
Oh man.
Yeah.
We don't want to be ass out on this invention, man. So we're like, wait a minute. What's up?
Oh man.
Well, there you go. That is our show.
What about your Super Bowl predictions, guys?
I like Seattle by 7.
I'm going with Seattle. I don't think they're going to be deflated this year.
I like for them to repeat, man. What about you?
Yeah, I would like to see them repeat. It's weird. I have this kind of well, I know why, because man, the Ravens and the Patriots, man, that rivalry is something else. Also, just the air of the Patriots just rubs me the wrong way. I think in my mind, sadly, they kind of symbolize like privileged white boys for some reason. It's not. That's probably unfair. But
yes, it is with Vince Wilfork on the team.
Damn right. One Vince blackens the whole team. And they did have Hispanic murderer on the team, so I guess you're right.
Well, isn't that trial supposed to start like this week?
Yeah.
Damn. Is he the first full-out murderer?
No, Ray Caruth, man.
Caruth.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know, and then of course we could say OJ, but you know that opens it up for a whole bunch
don't you do it, Tony.
debate. But yeah, and I'm sure there are some other ones that we can't even think of that have done something. So I mean, the guy who in Kansas City who murdered his girlfriend and killed himself.
Okay, well this is the most. Can we fairly say? We can't say high profile because he was just coming into. He was the best player, probably, right? He was a legitimate superstar, but he was still young, though.
I don't think he was a superstar, but I think he was on his way.
He was a legitimate star.
He was getting there. He was a star.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a superstar,
I think his play had people wondering if Gronkowski was expendable.
Right. And he was better than Ray Caruth, right?
Well, we didn't get much about, we didn't get a whole lot about Ray Caruth because that was early on in his career. You know, Ray Caruth should be getting out of prison in the next year or two. Because, I mean, it's been about 20 years.
It's not been 20 years, has it?
It's been, he's
20 years, Tony. Come on, man.
I mean, it happened in the 90s, and we're at 2015.
Yeah. Damn it. Where does time go?
I mean, your goddaughter was born in 1995. She'll be 20 years old in 2 months.
What the hell is going on?
So I mean, come on, man. I mean, it goes by fast, man.
And when you lose a job, you really lose track of time. Damn it!
That's what happens. You gotta wind your own watches.
Yeah, yo.
on the sidebar on the Ray Caruth thing, his son. I saw a really good local story on his son, who I believe is somewhere in that 18 to 20-year-old range. Somewhere in that range. And he's had some, obviously, he has mental challenges because of the injuries that when his mother was killed while he was in the womb. So they were able to deliver the baby, and he obviously had some challenges. But his grandmother is helping him be an independent person, helping him grow. And it was really if you kind of do a Google search, you can find a local reporter in North Carolina did the story, but it was a very inspirational story.
So if Ray gets out, should he leave his son alone? I'm sure he will.
I can't remember because I saw this a few weeks ago. What the grandmother has been very instrumental in helping him develop, and I can't remember. I know that she explained what his father did. I can't remember if they have a relationship. I don't remember the story, but I mean, she definitely said, hey, this is what happened.
Right.
So
yeah, it's horrible.
So,
it is.
So Tony, from your Christian standpoint,
What? Say it again, man, because you froze up. Say it again.
Could you forgive? Would the message be to forgive and let Ray out of his son?
No. No. Because the potential is there that he could damage this harm this boy physically. I mean, if he killed a woman he supposedly was in love with, a woman who was literally carrying his child, if he killed the woman while she was carrying the child, what's to say that he doesn't have plans for this young man, once he gets out? So no, I don't think he should ever be able to see this young man ever, because there's a pattern there. I mean, and he's a coward. I mean, they found him hiding in the trunk of a car. I mean, so I mean, it's like he's a horrible man, and he'll have to live with that forever. What he did. Not only did he take the life of his child's mother, he also did irreparable damage to his son, and one day he'll have to pay for that sin. But nah, I mean, it really is up to the young man and his grandmother. Me, I mean, I like to think that I move closer to God every day, but
not that close.
I'm not there yet, man. I don't think I could do
further
it.
to go on your walk.
Oh yeah, yeah, lots of walking to do, man.
And speaking of walking, make sure you check out Tony's new series on Talking 360. Walk with me. Weekdays on Thursdays.
Well, I haven't done one because the weather changed, man. I got to wait for the weather to break out some new ones, man. But yeah.
And I'm looking at the story. Actually, was also in Sports Illustrated, and Chandler Lee Adams. He's 12 years old, I should say, confined to a wheelchair, can't feed himself. But his grandmother.
So he's only 12 years old.
He's 12.
So it hasn't been. It has not been 20
wait a
years.
minute. When did it? I'm sorry. This story came out in 2012.
Oh, okay.
So 16, 15, something like that. Yeah. But the grandmother, kind of said, this is who your dad is. He did a horrible thing. He killed your mother. The forgiveness. She's trying to teach forgiveness and moving forward. Yeah, I mean,
that's got to be tough, man. You got to explain to your challenged grandson who is in this predicament because this man shot and killed your daughter.
Yeah.
And you're trying to teach this child forgiveness. God bless her, man.
Yeah.
She's way ahead of me. But man, that's tough. That's a rough one, man. So we will end the show here, man. Comments down below. We get a lot of comments. Thumbs up helps the channel grow. Subscribing to the channel helps the channel grow.
Where we at, man? 3,000 yet?
No, we're like I don't know, 2,400.
Let's go, 3,000. Let's go.
We got to we're trying to get the.
Get in there.
Get up there. You subscribing helps a lot. All it does is it just sends you an email when we put a new video up. So if you could do that,
that's all you need. Helpful. Just a friendly reminder.
That's all. We ain't bugging you. We're not going to send you nothing like that.
We were going to.
All of you.
Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was going to say, if you want to sign up for the newsletter, you can at talking360.com.
That's right.
We just sent out other reminders too on that. So.
And you never know, we might give away a Vaginal.
I'm gonna look into that, man. That would be a good gift.
Some lucky subscriber.
Yes. We'll get a Vaginal.
Hey.
I don't know, man. But you never know. You never know.
We're trying to get a toehold on the internet.
We are Men on Everything. Troy Johnson in Washington, D.C., Mark Clark in New York City. I'm Tony Scott in St. Louis. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.